Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mission Critical. Make sure to hit like below and subscribe for more updates from our show. Let's get into it. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I am great.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day and excited to sit with you.
We finally have some sun here in Toronto because I feel like this has been like the grayest January ever. I feel like I say that every year, but like finally some sun and some like something. So, and I'm so happy to have you in the studio and to be chatting today. I'm a big fan of the brand.
Thank you. No, we are I'm happy to be here, and I'm just only curious that the heat feature on the sun doesn't work in January. It seems like the sun is bright, but it is not melting the snow below.
These are the coldest days I find actually when it's like bright out because you don't have, I grew up in Alberta in like a little mountain town, and it is like whenever it was like overcast and stuff, like those would be the warmest days because you've got like the insulation. But like these beautiful, crisp, sunny days, like so cold sometimes. But I'll take the sun over like no sun any day because like I'm so affected by the sunlight. I find.
It changes the music that's played on the radio. I find it changes everyone's mood. Like there's just some correlation between like high energy, upbeat, and then like kind of this gray monotone, winter cold day.
Exactly. I'm so excited to be chatting today. I'm a big fan of the brand. You know, I've actually been quite familiar with the brand because my family, we're all just serial gum chewers and have been for so long. And my parents, and specifically my mom, was the one that got us on PUR because it was something that is, I think, just built into what you guys do in terms of your messaging and like the ethos around aspartame free and just being a healthier option. And so it's literally in like a variety of different bags. It's in the car. It's in every place that we can because we just
music to my ears.
Yeah.
I love doing that. We really, we started the brand to make simple substitutions with no compromise in taste or quality. So if you go back to 2010 when we started, in the health food industry, people were trying to do things that sort of met the values that people were looking for. So think gluten-free, celiac, maybe diabetic friendly, or making substitutions. So no egg, no soy. But back then it was very hard to match the taste. And really the key with eating is you want to enjoy what you're eating. And before so many of these ailments became popular or more people realized that they were being impacted, you just sort of ate your way through. Maybe a piece of bread tastes delicious, and then gluten-free bread, when it was coming onto market, it just didn't have that same taste. It didn't have the texture. It just kind of tasted like this is a compromise.
Sure.
And when we took the aspartame out of chewing gum, the key was it has to taste good. It has to freshen your breath and taste good. So people know I chew gum, I freshen my breath, I spit it out, and I carry on living. And it's a very simple product. So chewing gum isn't something that you would stop, write down on your grocery list, I need chewing gum. But if you like French fries, I love French fries. And if I don't have ketchup in my refrigerator and I'm having French fries, I would literally stop eating. Right. I would get in my car, I would go get ketchup, and I would come back and have my French fries.
Yeah.
And there are certain items like that on a grocery list that people live by. And chewing gum happens to be an impulse item. So it's always available at the cash register at a grocery store, at a convenience store, maybe at a gas station. And people buy it because on that occasion, they freshen their breath. It's social, you share it, and it's just a fun product. So I can take you way back to when I was a kid, and I filled my backpack in the 7th grade with lollipops, Airheads, and I would sell them for a quarter. I saw the social engagement and joy that candy brought to people. And if you're ever shy and you want an icebreaker, you literally can share a piece of gum, offer a mint, and all of a sudden you bond over something to talk about. And that's kind of like this conversation starter. So a lot of reasons why we got into the chewing gum business. And, the key is we're just looking to move the whole industry to what the audience is looking for. And consumers today want better choices.
What do you find is the, building on what you kind of said, the emotional attachment that people have with something like as ubiquitous as chewing gum? Like it might not be something that they think about right away. And as you mentioned, like it's not necessarily something that people historically or traditionally have been putting on their grocery list, but it is such a, it has Yeah.
So chewing gum's been around for a long time. And historically, chewing gum was made with sugar. And chewing sugared gum really isn't the best thing for your teeth. We're all looking for these bright smiles. And the dentist would tell you that chewing gum with sugar isn't there. So you've seen this rapid decline sort of over the last 20 years in sugared chewing gum. And then it moved in the 1980s, 1990s, it moved into aspartame sweetened. And as we move into the 2000s, people really care about their ingredients. They care about what are the choices I'm putting into my body. And where we found the first connection was connecting with people who care about what their family puts into their body. So if you take mom or you take dad, they're looking for the brighter future for their children, friends, or go up a generation. They want their parents to be healthier. They want them to live longer. They want them to make the choices to extend sort of the greatness that we get to experience in the world today. And by taking chewing gum, which is just a small product, but making a change, it's just one more easy change you can make in your life without having to go to the gym, without changing your diet, without restyling your hair. And you can eliminate the chemical ingredients that would be in mainstream chewing gum and have a natural alternative.
Yeah. So first of all, you've been an entrepreneur, it sounds like, since you were like selling the Airheads and all the candies from when you were a kid. But how did you acquire the skill set or the industry know-how to understand how to make this change in this huge industry?
Yeah, it's a great question. And as an entrepreneur, you never really learn. What you're doing is failing and trying and sort of going through the steps, what you think is a good idea, trying it out, and then knowing enough to say, is this working easily or is this failing fast? With me, one of the things when I go back to my entrepreneurial journey is I say, I wish I had a real job. I wish I had an opportunity to work for a big CPG company, because if you think about what happens coming out of university and working for a big corporation, they sort of parade you around all the departments over the course of a year so you learn a little bit about how everything's done. When I started the PUR company, it was literally all, we have an idea. This is how we should make our invoices. This is how we should pack the boxes. And everything was really like a bushwhacking entrepreneur experience where we're just trying to figure it out. So you make a lot of mistakes, and then you figure out what could be done better. So one of the things that I really talk about to our team, to our customers, and really entrepreneurs that I love meeting with are taking risks and not being afraid to fail. If you think about failure, as long as you fail less than you're winning, your failure is helping you win more. And if you put failure in play just under 50% of the time, you're winning the majority of the time. And growing up, I played baseball, and I always would make the analogy that if you bat 300 in the major leagues, you're in the Hall of Fame. So why should the bar be any different in the entrepreneurial world that if you make 3 out of 10 mistakes, you're amazing.
Right.
And if you think about a great idea, the amplification or the success of a great idea far outweighs the damage of a bad idea, especially if you learn from that bad idea and bring it into a good idea.
Right. When you were building out the foundation for the company, I mean, the initial idea behind PUR was seemingly so simple in the sense that you're taking out the aspartame, there's no gimmicks, you're very transparent. Did that approach and that kind of simplicity of messaging ever feel risky in terms of kind of industry disruption, I guess?
Yeah. So I don't think we ever looked at disrupting the industry out of the gate. And, I'm a simple guy, okay? Like, I like pasta and tomato sauce. I could be at the fanciest restaurant or I could be at the not so fanciest restaurant. I want to eat the same thing. But sometimes when you set too big of a goal, like if I said on day one, I want to change the industry, it's hard to kind of lift that rock, if you will. But I actually set a goal that was I wanted to sell 1 pack of gum to a stranger. And what I didn't realize was all the pre-work in order to get ready to sell that 1 pack of gum. You have to design a package. You have to come up with a formulation. You have to have distribution. And then finally I got to that 1 pack of gum where I had 1 pack of gum in distribution. The secret is I also had 250,000 packs of gum in a warehouse that I didn't know what to do with. But the 1 pack of gum that was in retail, I stayed at that store and I watched until a consumer picked that pack up. The happiness and the joy and the elation of watching that pack get picked up, I achieved my goal. But what did I learn from that? I didn't set a big enough goal. What was I going to do with the other 250,000 packs of gum? I had all this money tied up in inventory. I had no plan. I had no strategy. So I really had to shift and say, okay, how do I replicate that feeling of the one success and now do it across a bigger platform? And that's when we shifted the strategy to running for mayor, which was going door to door and connecting with independent health food stores, gourmet grocery, smoothie shops, yoga bars, and really matching our product with the audience that we felt would consume our product. And sometimes people just want to get their brand everywhere or get their product everywhere. But with PUR, we really stayed focused. Who is our audience? How do we get it there? And how do they see the PUR brand in the PUR package at the front end check lane so that they have the opportunity to buy it?
Yeah.
That was really the early days. So, from there, I kind of look at life as this ladder strategy or a staircase. You can't get to the top of the staircase without climbing up the rest of the stairs. And if you take too big of a risk by swinging and try to go from sort of the bottom of the ladder to the top of the ladder, you could fall and get hurt. If you keep taking a step, maybe working with a 1-store chain, going to a 5-store chain, then to a 20-store chain, you learn different things along the way so that the PUR brand can connect with customers. We can participate in grand openings, do little things. And over a 15-year period today, when I look back, that allows us to do bigger things.
Yeah.
So now we can work with national retailers and international distributors. We can work with online e-commerce platforms. We can talk about our e-commerce business on Amazon, which is a great risk story. When in 2014, we had an intern come to me, and we don't really have a lot of interns, but the intern said, I don't have a lot to do. What do you think about selling gum online? I said, selling gum online? I don't think that's going to work. When's the last time you've ever bought a pack of gum online? In 2014, it never happened.
Right.
I said, how much is it going to cost to set up? He said, $49 to set it up. I said, okay, we can do that. Go ahead and do that. If I fast forward 10 years later, PUR is the #1 selling chewing gum on Amazon, which is the largest retailer in the world. We are the #1 non-beverage item in all food products they sell online.
Wow.
So you're talking about a dozen sales a second running through Amazon all over the world. And that's because we took a risk on an idea from an intern that said, let's try something new. And, entrepreneurs take the blinders off. They take risks. They get into crazy things. But if we were like, no, we're a brick and mortar strategy. We're only going to focus on retail. We just want to be in stores. Imagine we turn that off. The trajectory of our business is very different.
Yeah, and just being comfortable with being uncomfortable and trying new things and seeing what sticks on the wall. Like that's, I feel like so much the mindset of an entrepreneur is just iteration.
Correct.
Too. I'm curious, when you were launching with that first product, did you face any resistance from the retailers, the manufacturers, or what kind of questions were they asking you when you would come to them and be like, I've got a completely different product that I think is going to be great for your customers?
So the first resistance round was everyone I know and loved says, oh, Jay, I don't think you should do this. This is not a good idea. And, usually when opinions are unanimous, that's when entrepreneurs say, aha, I found something. If everyone can agree to disagree, this may be a path that I can disrupt. And if you think about it, you have the biggest 5 players in the chewing gum industry. They dominate the world. It's a $20 billion industry, and it's made up by the same leaders since the beginning of time. Here's Jay Klein, a degree in communications and political science. Like, no experience, don't know how to work Excel, and I'm going to come and challenge the status quo. So everyone said, son, nephew, friend, maybe you should try something else. But I went ahead and did it because what did I have to lose? And the reality is you only get traction little by little by little. And, I think that entrepreneurs get uncomfortable, they take risks, and they push the limits, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't know anybody and you're introduced to a business setting or a dinner, you can choose to sit in the corner of the room, eat your dinner, wait the night out, or you can go around and say, wow, there's a lot of interesting people here that I met. You can get their card, you can get their number, you can follow up. It's the same thing in life that applies to entrepreneurship. So to bring this all together, I'm a simple guy. Gum is a simple product, And we've taken simple steps, but worked really hard to scale this business over the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm. And so when you were having those conversations with your retailers, your first kind of stores, did you adopt kind of like a squeaky wheel kind of approach, or just?
So what we did was we took a major league attitude and sort of a minor league retail environment. So if you think you have an independent store, usually owner operated, and you have this young guy coming in with a backpack and 3 different flavors of gum and really a new category. And I would go in and I would explain all the reasons why I was trying to sell $10.20 times 3. So $30.60 was the size of the order. It offset the $12 it cost me to park and the $20 for the thing. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew I wanted to win. I knew I wanted that store owner to wake up in the morning and have never heard of PUR, and then by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I got to leave the store and saw PUR right on the front. So I was able to show my passion, share what I wanted to do with the gum industry, and really take bite-sized steps as we scaled. So the first sale was actually the hardest because I had to convince the store owner why he needed an aspartame-free gum with no artificial colors and no artificial flavors. After I got that $30.60, I went down the road and I said, hey, you want to buy PUR? He says, oh, I've never heard of it. I said, oh, it's selling down the street at that store right there. And then all of a sudden, you just kind of parlay the success. So we joke sometimes the first sale was the hardest. The rest of the sales are just telling us where everyone else is selling.
Right. You know, I feel like so much of the dialogue today and even back then, especially actually back then when there was this huge culture of like, kind of like that rock star entrepreneur and like just all these like companies that were becoming like unicorn companies, like all these things, and all these companies really trying to create new categories or new innovative products. But do you think, based on your experience, that founders sometimes underestimate how powerful and impactful it can be to really improve on something small but universal, rather than trying to completely rechange an entire industry or create a completely new product?
Yeah, it's a great insight. And the reality is it's very hard to disrupt a market. And there are a lot of factors that work against you. Like, I don't think I could just wake up, start a new brand tomorrow and kind of have the same distribution that we have today. I'm incredibly grateful. I'm humbled by what we've achieved. And a lot of things have kind of gone our way over the journey. Today, you have a very competitive environment. If you're making a beverage, if you're making a energy bar, or, you know, protein is the big thing today, there's 500 new brands coming online every month from all parts of the world, and they're all deploying similar strategies of customer acquisition, trial, sample. So timing is a big thing when it comes to category building, brand building. Getting the PUR name so people look at that and see the gum is not so much about having our brand on a package. It's about having a brand that people trust, because the growth in the specialty market that you're referring to and how all these new brands are coming, these brands are authentic since the beginning. They are purpose-driven companies that are saying, I want to make food consumption better. I want to make chewing gum better. I want to make protein cleaner, whatever the topic is. And they're battling sort of legacy giants that are promoting mass consumption of food that has been consumed for a long time. So I think about my consumption patterns. When I was 8 years old, and I was a portly young fellow, and I loved going to birthday parties, I would have red Gatorade fruit punch. I would have Doritos. I would have Oreos. I mean, think of the buffet of snacks, and then it was followed by pizza and, you know, deep dish Pizza Hut pizza. I love all those foods. I have kids today. I go to birthday parties almost every weekend. I have never seen a buffet of Oreos, Pizza Hut, Gatorade, and all that stuff. If you're seeing carrot sticks, you're seeing organic applesauce, you're seeing better for you cookies, and you know, and that's a generational shift in consumption. And if everyone kind of moves in that direction, what you're going to see is a collection of visionary entrepreneurs who said, I want to make consumption a little bit better for the generation ahead than what I grew up on. I feel better in the morning eating these things. And that's why you see this movement in better for you. And it's hard to get traction, but once you have traction, you don't change. You don't go from drinking coconut water when you're dehydrated to having, you know, something that's filled with sugar and You just don't make that switch back.
Right. You talk a lot about trust as well. What do you think is harder in your experience? Earning that trust early on when there's no awareness and you're just building it from scratch, or protecting that trust once you've already established, a fan base and a customer base of millions of people. And they're two different things, but what do you think is harder?
I mean, they're both hard. Those are really hard things. One is you're dealing, like, the first part of that trust equation is you're earning the trust of an individual. Mm-hmm. If you earn that trust, that individual is likely to share their great experience with other people.
Yeah.
Then when you have a massive audience and you've earned the trust of a lot of people, not only can't you raise your bar, but each subsequent item that you roll out, our innovation, the pressure that we put on ourselves to make our innovation. We just launched new Sours chewing gum. So Sours, gummies, Sours has been all the rage. Mm-hmm, but people don't want the sugar and they don't want the calories. So how can you get that same flavor explosion? We said, let's do it in chewing gum. So PUR Sours, they're jumbo pieces. It's like a modern day gumball that you chew on, and you get that sour hit that you want. If that doesn't meet or exceed the expectations of our entire audience, that's tough, right?
Yeah.
So the pressure as you get bigger is there. And you see that today with a lot of major corporations. Think fashion retail. Some of the most aspirational brands that I look to for environment, for inspiration. They are the hottest thing one year, and then they change the style just a little bit, and it's like out of favor.
Yeah.
I don't want to be caught in that sweater.
Totally. Well, and also just the landscape we're in right now too, like the attention span, and there's just so many options, and there's just one giant marketplace now versus all these kind of different kind of landscape from back in 2010 when you were building the company.
And also loyalty is not the same, right? Like if you grew up and you wore Levi's jeans every day, that's kind of what you grew up in. Those are your jeans. And then all of a sudden you have 75 different types of jeans to choose from, let alone what's on sale, what's on promotion, what your friends are wearing. Do they have rips? Do they not have rips?
It's dizzying, just the array.
It's a lot. The consumer, the sort of the consumer overload in our society today is a real thing. There's a lot of choices. So what we find sometimes is too many choices actually drown out the crowd, and you go back to what you know. And that's about, like, why do people keep coming back to core items? It's because they trust that the delivery is going to be good. If you're taking $4.79 or $2.99 or $12.99, whatever your snacking price range is that you're going to buy something, you don't want to buy something and try it and not like it, and then be like, not only would that underwhelm me because those cookies don't taste like chocolate, but now I'm out $12.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yes.
When you decide to take a risk and you're like, oh, I should have just stuck with what I knew.
Exactly.
I'm also curious, as you were building the company, what was, when you look in the rearview mirror, what has been kind of the most difficult decision that you've had to make in order to get to where you are?
So pushing boundaries is something that is really tough because you start extending yourself. You have more inventory needs. You have more financial pressures. You're depending on people. It is very hard. I'm an only child. I'm an entrepreneur. You have to trust people with your baby. And that is very hard for people because it's tough to match the passion that a founder has. In general, you can get excited about an idea, but when you eat, sleep, live, breathe a brand, and then you kind of hire someone, as great as they are, they're coming into work because they're getting paid and they're going home and they're carrying on their lives. As you scale and you know that you would do it differently, you would do it better, whether the better is right or not, you would still do it a different way. But how do you align yourself with people that you trust, that you do it? So the hardest part of growth is trusting people, leaning on their experience, allowing their experience to actually be the tangible experience that you need to grow, because most businesses are unique. They don't all possess the same characteristics. If they have different messaging, different consumer connection, no one has experience doing exactly that. And then no one has experience working with exactly you. So you really have to kind of trust. And some of the biggest challenges or self-development that I've done is working with different people over time. I've made mistakes with people. I've trusted the wrong people. I haven't trusted the right people. And the reason that we've gotten better as an organization over time is because we found the right people to blend the balance of trust and responsibility. and then layer in their experience, and that outputs a great result.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's only something that you can learn with time and experience.
You learn with time and experience. And, you touched earlier on, risk and failure. We talk about, what is it about those two things? And you mentioned the unicorns and successful entrepreneurs. People love hearing success stories. When you open up the newspaper and they profile like this entrepreneur just sold his business for $1 gajillion or whatever it is, there's 100 more entrepreneurs that close their business that day. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, it's like one success story, 100 lessons learned from all those people. Those people are going to be better entrepreneurs next time.
Yeah.
Because you can get lucky and win, but you can learn a lot and fail. And I always challenge entrepreneurs to learn more from your failures than your successes. Because if you can harness those lessons, your next success is going to be even greater. Yeah. And if you think about like the guy who threw 100 football passes and they were all dropped, he's successful because the 101st pass he threw, he didn't give up and quit on. And, I look to, sports and also dating actually for a lot of analogies. Like, you get turned down by 5 times, maybe you don't call again. Or maybe you just say, you know what, I got to keep trying. And life isn't easy. And neither is being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Also, scar tissue is stronger. Is that the analogy? Like scar tissue is stronger, or like you remember it more, or like it stays with you longer?
I haven't heard that analogy, but when you said scar tissue, I broke my elbow when I was 17, and I actually developed a keloid on my on my elbow. So that's even stronger than scar tissue. So maybe like the DNA is wired into my entrepreneurial journey.
Exactly. Can you share a moment that you've had along your journey about any kind of feedback that you got from customers about that really kind of forced you to rethink a product or a decision, or even just like the business plan of like, your timeline of where you want it to go?
Yes, 100% I can think of that. The first one that comes to mind and the one that sticks out the most is buyers and retailers, the people who represent, the various desks, they're consumers too. And I had a meeting recently where we presented the PUR line, we talked about all the differences, and the consumer tried the product. The sampling went like this. Oh, I love this product. Spearmint? Wow, this is great. Tastes just like gum. All the things that we could ask for. Then we moved into the jumbo, the sours line. They said, my son is going to love it. He's 9 years old. This is great. It has no chemicals, no sugar. He's going to love it. I'm having the best time in the meeting. I'm like, this is going to go great. Okay. Right. She says, but we can't bring it in at this time. I just don't think it's right for us. I said, I don't understand.
Right.
We're the number one selling gum in the category. We are the number one selling gum online. You as a human being, without your buyer's cap, love the product. You as a parent want to give this to your child. Why wouldn't you buy this at your own store? And sometimes the market just isn't ready to move as fast as a consumer is. So I leave that meeting scratching my head saying, what could I do differently? It's actually a very debilitating meeting to sit through where everything is a yes, but the answer is a no.
Yeah.
So how do you not leave and laugh? How do you not leave and be a little uncomfortable? How do you not leave and say, what more could I have done? There's nothing more I could have done. And you know what she said to me at the end of the meeting? Do you mind if I keep all the samples? Because I would love to share them with my friends.
Right.
There's nothing more I could have heard that would have connected her as a human being to our brand. And it speaks to the movement of how progressive retailers need to respond to up-and-coming brands, because they have to get out of the legacy way of gatekeeping what is in their store. And you're seeing through various online health food retailers. Here in Canada, you have well.ca, you have Natura Market, you have obviously Amazon, and they are curating everything. So no one is making a choice for you. They're allowing you to make your own choices. And that meeting today serves as an incredible inspiration to our sales team and to me. And I say, sometimes there's nothing more that you can do other than do it again. And when you do that again, and the response is, this is great, we'd love to have you in our store, that's when the coin flips the other way. And for PUR, our journey is a constant communication push of education, awareness, conversion, And then that coin starts to flip the other way a little bit more. And today you see Pure Gum on retailers all across the country and all over the world.
Is education still something that you still need to build with the brand in the category?
We have a big story to tell. We have a lot of information to share, and education is key. So there's the cool factor. People want cool products. It's fun. My friends are chewing it. I like it. It meets all my health characteristics. But what is it about the product? And I, as a founder, have learned things about our brand that I never expected to. So the natural sweetener xylitol in our gum is excellent for oral health care. It helps clean your saliva. It's filtering your cavities. It's like really working through. It's doing so many things in your mouth that if you went to the dentist and said, should I have a xylitol-based rinse? They would say, absolutely. It's a huge buzz term right now in the dental world. Killing bacteria in your mouth is like you want it to stay fresh. Cavities don't build. And then you have all the benefits of regular chewing gum. Another one which more pulls on my emotion strings is we got a letter from a customer that was consuming our mints during a difficult time in her life. She was going through chemotherapy. And the metallic taste of the treatment wasn't pleasant. And she was using our orange mints and our tangerine tango mints. It's a great product and it's fresh. It's like a fruit fresh feeling, right? And it masked that taste. So we never would have thought we could help someone in that time. And just being there for people in moments is the best sort of like exponential goal, or, you know, those are the stories that make what we do exciting, and connecting with consumers in moments. I was on my first date. We connected over a piece of gum because we're both vegan and I chew Pure Gum.
Right. Rewinding as well. Pure appeared on Dragon's Den in 2014. After that appearance, what changed? What didn't change for you?
So in 2014, we got this call to be on Dragon's Den. It was incredible. And at the time, the show, was coming. It was very popular. Everyone's going, and it's more popular today. But it was like, wow, we're going to be on Dragon's Den. We're going to get to showcase our brand in front of millions of people in Canada. It was like literally the thing to do every week. You'd watch Dragon's Den, see what new products are coming to market. And I was very nervous because 4 years into our journey, what I had thought was a big business that I had built, I was nervous to put myself out there to have 5 kind of successful business leaders opine in a television reality show to say we like it or we don't like it. So all the hard work that you get building a business, one bad review, you can unwind a lot.
Yeah.
So I actually...
And that review is being broadcast.
That review is being broadcasted. People are talking about that review. I was so confident in the product, but I was so nervous at the possibilities. And most time people feel they worry more about what can go wrong than what can go right. So as I was waiting to film on stage, I remember I perspired through 3 of the same t-shirt that I was wearing. I brought 3 Kick Aspartame t-shirts, and when they called me, I was on the 3rd one. So I was very nervous. I walked into the den, I did my pitch about the brand, and within 30 seconds of me finishing, all 5 dragons said, I know that brand. I chew that brand. I like that brand. And the sense of calm that came over me that said, wow, we've been doing something right. Now let's focus on the business. And it's still one of their most watched episodes. It's really exciting. It's unconventional. And it opened a lot of doors. It opened a lot of doors. It was, I got 1 free coffee one time at a coffee place, and I said, were you on Dragon's Den?
Love that.
They said, you can have this coffee for free. And it was a latte. So it was like $5.50. So it was a good deal. And another time I was flying to Washington, and it was a small plane, like 2 by 2, and then a bench 5 in the back. And I always sit in 12C because that's usually the bulkhead seat on the left side of the plane. Right. So I selected 12C, didn't even think about it. It turned out that was the back middle seat on the bench of the plane. So I board this plane. The lady comes to me. There was 1 empty seat, like as I passed them, and she says, are you by chance the guy from Pure Gum that was on Dragon's Den? And I said, yes, I am. And I always carry gum with me, so I gave her some gum. She said, we happen to have one seat available in front. And it was the same seat, but she said, would you like to sit in it? I said, yes, I would. So I take all my stuff out of the overhead bin. I walk up to the front seat. Yeah. I sit down. I get comfortable. Pilot comes on the plane. He says, folks, we're just waiting for one more passenger. They had a late connection. And she walks up to me, she says, I am so sorry. I have to put you back in your original seat. So, those are my, little claims to fame. But it really is, it's very cool to be noticed and to connect a product with people.
Right. Building on that, how important do you think it is today for, brands to be founder-led in terms of like visibility and being like, the biggest champion, the biggest advocates, and being present on social media and all these other like essentially like spokespeople? Like there's so many companies that are now founder driven in terms of the storytelling.
Yeah.
How important do you think is it necessary? Like where are we at?
It's super important. I mean, people want to know who's behind the brand, who's starting the brand, why do I like the brand? And really, sometimes they're believing in you. People can like the product. I mean, really, this may apply less to food because, like, if you like the food, if you like the pizza, if you like the chewing gum, you stick with the pizza. But like, if people believe in the purpose, like I'm taking this supplement because, and I am the face, and I am the energy behind the brand, that's what people are buying into. And today, people want to believe in authenticity. They want to know, who am I backing and who am I supporting? It's actually one of the big divergence in big corporate versus entrepreneurship because people don't know who to believe. And how do you believe a big company when they modify their ingredients to meet the latest round of health standards, as opposed to, we're not going to have any of that stuff from the beginning. This is who we are from day one, and this is who we are today. Yeah. The other thing is, founders push boundaries. They push limits. They're not afraid to kind of immerse themselves in an awkward social situation, film what they're doing, and then output it to people. And that gets the conversation going. So I love looking at founders that are doing unconventional things, or they're doing conventional things and just communicating open and honestly about their brands. I love consuming those brands.
Yeah, I agree. And again, going back to this notion of trust, like it's just such a crowded space digitally, physically, and just to understand and just be able to kind of feel connected to a brand in a human way, I think goes a long way nowadays too. And there's just so much noise out there, and you don't even know what to believe in these days because there's all these extra layers of other things that are happening in the news and technology and all that kind of stuff. So being able to just not have to think about questioning trust because of a brand that is like human-led and very human-facing goes a long way.
And things are people-powered today. Like one of the biggest joy factors I get from work is when we create something new. We're all sitting around a table. We're coming up with the idea. We're tasting the new flavor. We're working through the new packaging. And then 3, 6, 8 months later, that product's on the shelf. So it's not just me that gets to call my mom and say, Mom, guess what? We made a new product. It's everyone that sat at that table says, I was a part of that innovation. The best thing that I can do as the founder and the leader at the PUR company is make sure that product stays in market for as long as it continues to serve the customers. Because the coolest thing we can do as a growing company is be around in the future. And so many times you have these pump and dump strategies where startups get big and hot and then they realize we're on to the next thing. You saw that a lot in the beef jerky world. You've seen that in snacking. You've seen that, even go in non-traditional spaces like vaping or, whatever people are doing that gets trendy, it turns. Okay. And with the PUR brand, we want to be a part of families' journeys into the future. And the best brands, the brands that I look up to, even if I look at Wrigley's or Hershey's, Perfetti, those companies have been around for a long time. Look at your Ziploc sandwich bags, Glad bags. I mean,
legacy,
legacy products. Hard to trust the new one. I mean, I love Ziploc bags. I probably have a Ziploc bag problem when there was the Ziploc bag ban. I don't even know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I bought so many Ziploc bags. They thought they were going to discontinue the Ziploc bags, right? Man, so then we get these the plastic silicone Ziploc pouches. It just doesn't keep my snacks fresh as they do. But anyway, I try, we all have our vices.
So now that you're on the other side of the table, as a dragon, what do you notice founders are consistently getting right and wrong in their pitches?
So first of all, being a dragon, unbelievable full circle moment for me to stand on one side of the pitching arena and now sit on another and know that the future for entrepreneurship in Canada is very bright. B, to have the opportunity to work with, invest, support these entrepreneurs, amazing. But also to take the nervousness, the lessons, and the experience that I had from my Dragon's Den and work with and support entrepreneurs. It's not always about having a good idea versus a bad idea. It's charting your path to make your idea work. There are great entrepreneurs that can ruin or succeed with the best idea or the worst idea. And then there are terrible entrepreneurs that you could give them the best idea and they mess it up.
Yeah.
So sitting in the dragon's chair and being able to, be on this show, give back, invest, and work with the future is incredible. It's also, you see cool things. Do you ever wake up in the morning and think, I've heard every song that has ever been played?
Right.
And then you get in the car, you hear a new song, you're like, where'd that song come from?
Yeah.
And now you listen to that song forever. I mean, I didn't know about K-pop Demon Hunters until I had kids.
Yeah.
It's all that's on my playlist right now. That's all I listen to. And that didn't exist. So how do you, change the conversation? And how do you help and give back? And being a dragon for me is a true highlight in what I'm doing. I am loving it. We had a great time filming. We saw some amazing businesses. We met amazing entrepreneurs, and it was just a great time.
Yeah. What do you think are some questions based on your experience as an entrepreneur founder, but then also mentoring other founders? What do you think are the questions that every entrepreneur should be asking themselves before they decide to build a company?
Yeah. Really important for entrepreneurs to know this and to give themselves a self-check, okay?
Yeah.
So why am I doing this, right?
Yeah.
Am I doing this to become the next billionaire? Is that a realistic goal? Or if I do this, is it a better opportunity than me just getting a job? So one of the checks that I do with entrepreneurs is I say, what is your time worth in the market today? Okay, so if you just get a job and you work and you put your head down, what does your growth trajectory look like? Then if you start a business and your goal is at all growing faster or having success or some monetary goal, how realistic is it? How long is it going to take you to get there? And then insert the risk and then figure out, is it realistic? Because if you have an unrealistic expectation of success, you're not going to succeed. If I go out and play golf and pretend I'm a professional golfer and get mad every time I don't nail the ball 200 yards and get it in the hole, I'm going to have a very disappointing afternoon. If I say I'm a gum salesman, so if I get it anywhere close and then I knock it in and then knock it in after that, I'll be really happy. I've managed my expectations. Entrepreneurs don't manage their expectations from the beginning. If they don't, they're not going to be successful. But go back to my ladder theory. If you take a step and a step and a step, you can get there. You can build it. You just can't do it overnight.
Yeah. Manage your expectations, absolutely. Just as we close out here, for anyone that's listening or kind of staring at an idea that makes, they're thinking maybe this is too simple or it's not exciting enough or I need to be really flashy. What are you telling them?
Yeah, there's no idea that's too simple. Really, some of the best ideas are the simple ideas. And if you think about the things that you use the most, they're usually simple. I hate opening a box of something and have really complex directions. I mean, I feel like I've gotten better at putting IKEA furniture together, but those little emojis of the screwdriver and the thing, it's overbearing. But they've simplified the process so anyone can do it. So complexities are not only complex for the entrepreneur to communicate the points of differences, but they're complex to digest. I like simple ideas. I think there's not enough simplicity. And if you think about the movement towards technology and AI, it's actually an oversimplification of the world. You don't have to think anymore. You can just type things into the computer. That's not the best way. So what are you thinking about when everyone else is thinking about something else? And the visual that I give to an entrepreneur is, I look at my life is, if you walk through the exit of a subway station at rush hour, when everyone is trying to get out the door, you are dodging and weaving and moving and shifting and that. And then finally, if you're able to navigate the crowd and not get knocked over, you find yourself alone on the platform. So you go through this crazy journey of challenge and headwind and complexity only to be alone. So it's not easy and it's never easy. And that's one of the things that entrepreneurship is seen as this glory and thing. But, 20 years ago, having a professional career was. Being a marketing executive or being an accountant or a lawyer, those were great, stable careers. Today, you can buy your domain name, turn on an Instagram handle, and you're an influencer.
Yeah.
Or you have a startup. But the reality is, does that outweigh what your kind of value or opportunity is in the conventional world?
Yeah. Last question. What excites you the most about the road ahead?
So we have this strategy that we call double, which is double distribution and double consumption. Mm-hmm. How can we convince one more person and one more place to consume our products? We live in a $20 billion industry that's growing to $30 billion in the next 7 years. We have an outsized opportunity to introduce ourselves to consumers, to make our brand aware to consumers and available. Mm-hmm. And the more we continue to make better choices in life, and we use PUR as a sort of vehicle for that choice, we can immerse ourselves into your life, the network, your sharing circle, and provide you with fun. I want to have sour blue raspberry gum without sugar and without aspartame, and we want to have fun with our audience. We want to listen to what we're making for our consumers. If consumers want something, we're very receptive to doing that. But I'm at a stage right now where I'm having fun. We get to, we have a strong business operation, we work with a great team, and we want to keep delivering our message to retailers, both in Canada, across North America, and then in the world. And the cool thing about the world, we look at if there are 100 people in line at a grocery store. Right now, we may only be speaking to 7 or 8 of those people, which means 93 people are walking by and they don't know about PUR. Mm-hmm. How do you amplify that message? And if you can go from 7 to 10, that's 50% growth, and there's still 90 people that you're not talking to.
Right.
So every day we're excited to meet people. In fact, I love meeting people that say, I've never heard of this product. Mm-hmm. They always get a free pack of gum. So if you see me, say you've never heard of PUR, you get a free pack of gum.
Yeah, amazing. Jay, thank you so much for this wonderful chat.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing. Time. Yeah, I loved it.
And just learning about your journey, and also just very exciting that you're going to be now on, again, full circle moment, and just being able to help other people along their own journey too. And
thank you.
I just think it's also so important to be, especially nowadays, really just cultivating, supporting like Canadian talent and Canadian success stories.
There's so much of it out there, and bring your ideas forward.
Yeah.
Like there is so much room in the future for great ideas, and curiosity is what's going to trump the effects of just AI repetition. So be curious, ask lots of questions, try new things, and that's what's going to make us a better place in the future.
And like I have to say, like world-class brands and talent, not just great in Canada, but just also on a global stage too, like global companies, so we've got so much here.
It's got a lot to offer.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Mission Critical. If you enjoyed our discussion, make sure to hit like below and subscribe for more updates from our show. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and go make something happen. We'll see you on the next episode.